Welcome to Living with Elevation Natural Health Center's Eat for Better Health class. My name is April Martinez, and I'm the naturopathic doctor here at the office. And I'm also going to be helping to teach you ways that you can improve your health through the way that you're eating. We'll be discussing daily food habits, and also as we move further through the course, we'll be discussing common myths and misconceptions, which you'll be able to find down below. The 6211 way of eating comes from one of the most renowned figures in nutrition and naturopathy, and that is Dr. Bernard Jensen. He is the author of the 600-page book that we're going to break down for you in this course. Make sure you download the sheet below because that's going to kind of be our overview of everything we're going to be talking about. We need to start out by saying that supplements are not designed to replace your diet. They are only here to help you get the nutrients that you're not getting from your foods. So to be healthy, we need to be eating the right foods, and our diets really do depend on the areas that we live in. If we live on the coast, we tend to have more access to fresh ocean foods. If we live down south, we tend to have access to better like citrus and produce. Up north, we tend to have better access to more root vegetables, things along that line. So in our areas, we may be deficient in certain foods, and so we're going to use supplementation to make sure that we're getting what our bodies need. Now, I know your health journey can be really overwhelming and there's so much information out there, so I'm just going to keep it simple and we're going to stick to just the basics. The quality of the food that we eat affects our quality's performance. We just need to remember that. The quality of food we eat affects the quality of our body's performance. So we need to look at the types of food that we're eating. So organic foods we tend to think are always healthy, which all organic means is that it is not chemically laden. It doesn't tell you if it was grown in nutrient-rich soil. Now, the best produce you're going to find is going to be organic and fertilized with nutrients. So we have enriched soil. That will be your ultimate. So if you're able to communicate with your farmer, if you're in an area where you have that option, learn about how they grow their produce because they may not be able to afford to pay for the organic label, but they may be using organic practices and using good fertilizer, things like that. Now, I do want you to know that there's a huge marketing campaign out there about the word natural. And we think natural is healthy. I make sure to avoid the natural labeling because it can be very misleading. Most cases, when it says natural on the front, you're going to flip it over and it's going to be a bunch of chemicals and things on the back. Or it'll be isolated vitamins from food or a concentrate or something along those lines. It will not be actual food. So we really want to avoid the natural labeling. Interestingly enough, did you know that 100 years ago, we didn't have any of this problem? All the food that we ate was high quality. We didn't have all the processed junk. We didn't have all the fast food. All of our food was grown in nutrient-rich soil, and it wasn't shipped hundreds, thousands of miles to get to where we need it to be. Now, that's another thing we have to look at with our produce is when we're buying it from the grocery stores, how far is it gone? And how much did they chemically have to treat it to preserve it, to keep it from ripening? Just knowing these things. I tend to do organic non-GMO when it comes to my produce. That's what I always look for. I'm in an isolated community, so I don't have a farmer's market or places where I can go and get those fresh vegetables unless I travel. So here at home, I tend to do organic non-GMO. I look for those labels. GMO foods are really important. We don't want to eat genetically modified foods. It's made in a lab, and when we eat that, our body does not know what's happening. It's putting a lot of stress on our digestive system because it's like, is it a carrot? Is it not a carrot? What are we eating here? And so we don't know what this genetically modified food is. So we want to do non-GMO. Usually if it's organic, it is non-GMO. But sometimes, we have the what is it, the Dirty Dozen. You can find that list with a Google search. But there are certain things that you absolutely 100% want to eat organic, and then there's others where it's a little bit safer. So if we do something that's non-organic, we want it non-GMO. Okay. For our meats, we want to look for pasture-raised meats. Now, one of the marketing tools is cage-free. That does not mean that it was humanely treated. Okay. So you want to look for pasture raised or humanely raised. You want to look at hormone and antibiotic free. Um, that's going to be your best options. Now, we live here in Wyoming. A lot of us eat game, wild game. That's wonderful. That's perfect. I think that's the best way we could go because we haven't done anything to those animals. They've just lived free, eaten what's natural to them, and then we get to enjoy it. But for some of you that are in like larger cities or hunting's not available, when you're going to the grocery store, these are some of the things you want to look for. Now we're going to go on to the 6211 sheet that you downloaded earlier. We're going to talk about the 6 vegetables. Every day you want to eat 6 different types of vegetables. You're going to look for different colors. We don't want all just, mixed greens with 6 different types of greens. We want a wide variety of colors so we're getting a wide variety of nutrients. We're good. Now, with these 6 vegetables, we're going to also focus on the quality, right? And not the quantity. Now, you're not going to eat just one carrot and say, well, I ate carrots today. You want like a decent size amount of those vegetables. Let's see. Oh, the easiest way to get vegetables. Easiest way. Salad. Or my favorite way, a smoothie. You don't have to chop it up. You just throw it in there, turn it on, and bam, it's done. So those are some of the best ways to get vegetables. Other ways that you can do it is you could add some steamed vegetables with the meal, cut raw vegetables for snacks, just to munch on some carrots or some celery sticks. There's lots of ways that you can get vegetables. If you're a very creative person and you love to cook, your possibilities are endless for you. We're going to do 2 different types of fruits a day. Now, I tend to go with berries first, then melons, and then all the other fruits last. And that is because I don't like spiking my blood sugar. It's not good for our bodies to have this sugar roller coaster all the time. So berries tend to be the most low glycemic, and then next are melons, and then everything else is after that. So always look and see what your fruits are, whether they're going to spike your blood sugar. Like I said, I tend to go with berries. I tend to actually do berries with a smoothie almost every day. And that just gets a lot. I put my superfood in there. I have my berries. I have vegetables. And I tend to get most of my nutrition first thing in the morning. Then we're going to look at healthy starches. You're going to have 1 healthy starch a day. That does not mean potato chips. Okay. We're talking maybe some sweet potatoes, some beans, some legumes, or whole grains. We're not talking garbage bread that you can get, but real whole grains. Okay. Now, if you're doing phase 1 food plan, you're going to cut out the starch. That's not going to be a part of your food plan. Okay. So just if you're doing phase 1, you're going to not do the starch. You're going to do 6, 2, 1. Then we're going to move on to meat proteins. So you're going to do 1 meat protein a day. We want it to be between 4 and 6 ounces. We don't need large quantities of meat to be healthy. So in most cases, if we eat too much meat, we can actually start causing damage to the body. We need to have those nutrients, okay? So all of this is really simple to remember, right? 6, 2, 1, 1. 6 vegetables, 2 fruits, 1 starch, 1 meat protein. Easy, right? You don't have to go and research everything. Just go with that model. You don't have to look at every diet and how many ounces of this do I need to eat? How many ounces of that? 6, 2, 1, 1. Simple. Now, I do want to point out that your body has 3 choices when it comes to the food that we eat. It can only do 3 things with that food. It can use it as a nutrient to help the body detox, rebuild, or repair. It can discard it as a waste or a toxin, or it can store it in the body for future use or elimination. But that's the only 3 things that our body can do with food. So this is why it's so important that we have healthy eating habits. Now, food logs are great tools, and if you're working with me, you're already familiar with food logs. We don't use these to make you feel bad about what you're eating. We're using these so we can see what you're eating. We're holding you accountable, and we may be able to identify areas of improvement. I like to see them, or I like to use them with my clients because I want to see what we're missing. What do we need to add in? So, food logs are a great tool as you're trying to get your nutrition in line and get your habits built. So, that's it. This is the 6211. We're going to talk about the next module, which is going to be food combining. But I do want to end this module with one of my favorite sayings, and that is this: the only vitamin that will kill you is the one that you didn't eat. We'll see you in the next module.